Right now, I want to welcome from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, Mr. Dave Adams is with us. Dave, good Friday to you.
Same to you, Cam. Thanks for having me on.
It is my pleasure, and thanks for indulging me in talking some Virginia politics. I saw this story about the Democratic gubernatorial candidates presenting proposals for gun control, and Dave, it really seems like both Ralph Northam and Tom Perriello are trying to out anti-gun one another.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where they're getting the information that this is a top issue for Virginia voters, and that's the way they're reaching out to them. Maybe it's because they're running in a primary first, and they think maybe that's the top issue to the constituency they have to reach out to in the primary, but I don't think it's a top issue for the vast majority of Virginia voters that will be going to the polls in November.
Why? Well, listen, here's the thing. If they make this a top issue, they're going to have a heck of a lot more gun owners coming out to vote no. On these proposals. So Ralph Northam, according to NBC 29 in Charlottesville, said that he wanted to bring back the one handgun a month law in Virginia. He said he wanted to mandate, quote, universal background checks. He also shared his support for smart gun technology. NBC 29 says, such as guns that will only fire with a specific person's fingerprints. So, and Dave, this is when I wish we had reporters who studied this issue a little bit more, because Carolyn Maloney from New York just introduced a bill in Congress that would mandate that once this law is passed, within 10 years, every gun manufactured or sold in America has to be a quote-unquote smart gun. Every firearm in the country would have to be retrofitted as a quote-unquote smart gun. There's a specific proposal. Does Lieutenant Governor Northam approve of that? Does he think that Virginians should have to retrofit their firearms to be quote-unquote smart guns?
Yeah, and I think maybe this reporter should have asked him that question. I can tell you, I've got an iPhone for work and I have an Android phone for a personal phone. Both of them have the fingerprint technology on it. And they never work every time. I really don't think most gun owners want to currently, bet their life on the fact that some type of technology similar to that is going to make their gun work every time either.
Well, no. Look, if you want to buy that, go for it. I'm with you, Dave. I've got an iPhone. It's got the fingerprint reader, and it is less than consistent. Let's just say, if there's any sort of rain, like the past couple of days. If I'm out walking the dogs and I'm trying to get to my phone, good luck, can't do it. And that happens if you're wearing gloves. Again, can't do it. There are all kinds of, again, practical reasons why smart guns may not be for everybody. But that's the way that they're going right now on the anti-gun side, is mandating this. Meanwhile, Tom Perriello, his spokesman, Remy Yamamoto, said that Tom Perriello will fight fiercely to ensure that our communities are safe and we enact common sense gun reforms, because you got to have that phrase, common sense gun reforms, Dave. It says that Perriello will work to enact, quote, universal background checks on all gun sales, end, quote, default gun sales. I'm not sure what that is. Restrict access to weapons and ammunition that have no defensible role in sport or home defense, and keep guns out of the hands of criminals, terrorists, and stalkers. So there's some vague language there, and I'd love to know, again, some specifics about, firearms and ammunition that Tom Perriello believes don't have any defensible role in sport or home defense. Let's start there, Dave. What's he talking about?
I have no idea. Maybe he wants to institute a ban on green tip ammunition at the state level, like the ATF tried to do at the federal level. Mm-hmm. I have no clue why either one of these guys thinks that this is the way to win an election in Virginia. We've got a lot of gun owners in the state, and even though we've got an anti-gun governor right now, the fact is we've got a pro-gun legislature, and they're not going to get any proposals like this through in the current makeup of the General Assembly. And even though all 100 members of the House of Delegates is up this year, unless they flip a lot of seats, which is what Northam said he's hoping to do, he's basically throwing this stuff out there as red meat to their base. But Virginia gun owners and Virginia voters in general don't support this kind of stuff.
Well, look what happened. Was it last year when the Attorney General, Mark Herring, decided that he was going to cancel reciprocity agreements with like 30 states that Virginia had reciprocity agreements with. Because of the political firestorm that was raging as a result of that decision, McAuliffe steps in, right, and says, okay, let's start talking to the Republican lawmakers there in the legislature. Let's see if we can work something out. Eventually, we have what amounts to universal reciprocity in Virginia. Attorney General Herring kind of thrown under the bus there. And again, that was the result of the gun owners in Virginia speaking up and speaking out. And Governor McAuliffe, look, he's you know this as well as I do, Dave. He has not signed what I think are some real common sense pieces of legislation. But even back then, a year ago, Governor McAuliffe recognized, gun owners are a potent force and a potent voice, and this is a misstep for Attorney General Herring.
He recognized that he could have had the first override of a veto had he vetoed any of the bills that were going through the General Assembly at the time to undo that action by Mark Herring, which is what brought him to the table and ended up with a compromise that was, quite frankly, much better for gun owners than it was for his side of the table. Mm-hmm. But he knew that he had Democrats in the state Senate as well as in the House of Delegates that opposed what the Attorney General did, and they were siding with law-abiding concealed carry holders and would have overridden any bill that he would have vetoed that overturned that. And so he, being the politician that he is, he came to the table and worked out a compromise that he thought would save face for him on the veto side, and our folks negotiated very well on our side, and we came out ahead as gun owners in Virginia.
Talking again with Dave Adams of the Virginia Shooting Sports Association. Again, don't underestimate the voting power of gun owners in Virginia, and I hope that every Virginia gun owner right now and throughout the course of this year going to be questioning the candidates. As you say, every seat in the House of Delegates is up. We've got 100 seats that are up for grabs, state Senate elections, lieutenant governor, gubernatorial election, and it's really important that we, as gun owners, ask these questions, whether our representative or our candidates are Republicans, Democrats, but get specific. Particularly if you are represented, I think, by a Democrat in the legislature, Dave. I would like to know. So are you going to go along with Lieutenant Governor Northam or with Tom Perriello's proposals if they become governor? Where do you disagree with them when it comes to the Second Amendment? I think we've got to be asking these questions because, as we said a few minutes ago, we can't expect the media here in Virginia to raise these issues.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And if gun owners are in at a political event where one of the candidates for statewide office is campaigning and they have a chance to ask a question, they should also ask them, when it comes to those so-called universal background checks, ask them the specific questions that we ask every day. Well, do you think that if I hand my gun to a member of my gun club to see if he likes to shoot it because it's a new model, do you think I should have to do a background check on him? Because that's what a lot of those proposals do in other states. And pin them down, make them talk about what it is they're proposing and what it is they want to do, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to get our message out and make those candidates understand what they're proposing is not what gun owners and the vast majority of Virginians want in this state.
Absolutely right. Dave Adams with the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, thank you much, sir, for coming on the program. It was good to see you, however briefly, at the annual meeting there in Atlanta.
Yes, that was a big, fun time, and I'm looking forward to Dallas next year.
I am, too. All right, Dave, we'll talk again very soon. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
You bet. Dave Adams joins from the Virginia Shooting Sports Association.